What if 5 simple things you do in the first hour after waking up could determine whether you stay independent in your own home or end up needing full-time care? Today, I'm sharing 5 morning routines used by people who remain completely independent well into their 90s. Routines so simple you can start tomorrow morning. And I'll reveal the one morning habit that doctors say is more protective against falls than any medication. But most seniors skip it completely because they don't realize how critical it is to their independence. Meet Frank, a 94-year-old from Portland who lives completely alone in the same house he's owned for 40 years. Last year, his daughter insisted he move to assisted living after a minor fall in his bathroom. Frank refused and instead changed his morning routine based on advice from his physical therapist. 12 months later, he's more independent than people 20 years younger, and his doctor calls him a textbook example of healthy aging. Morning routine. 1. The 5-minute balance check. The first thing Frank does, before coffee, before breakfast, before checking his phone or reading the newspaper, is spend 5 minutes testing his balance. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that daily balance exercises reduce fall risk by 43% in adults over 90. This isn't complicated physical therapy that requires special equipment or a gym membership. This is standing in your kitchen and deliberately practicing the movements that keep you upright and independent. Your balance system involves your inner ear, your vision, your muscles, and your brain all working together in perfect coordination. And like any complex system, it needs daily maintenance, or it deteriorates rapidly and silently. Frank stands near his kitchen counter and practices standing on one foot for 30 seconds on each side, holding the counter edge lightly with just his fingertips for safety. Then he does 10 heel-to-toe walks across his kitchen floor, placing one foot directly in front of the other, as if walking on a tightrope. He also practices standing with his feet together and closing his eyes for 10 seconds, which challenges his balance system without visual input. He holds onto the counter edge when needed, never pushing himself to the point of actual instability or risk. The goal isn't to prove anything to anyone. The goal is to challenge your balance system just enough that it stays sharp and responsive throughout the day. Think of it like tuning a musical instrument. You do it regularly so it works properly when you actually need it. Without this daily practice, your balance deteriorates by approximately 2% each month after age 85. That's a 24% decline in just 1 year, dramatically increasing your risk of a life-changing fall that could end your independence forever. The National Institute on Aging confirms that balance loss is not an inevitable part of aging, but rather a direct consequence of inactivity and lack of specific balance training. When you stop challenging your balance daily, your nervous system essentially forgets how to make the tiny, constant adjustments that keep you stable when you reach for something, turn your head quickly, or step over an obstacle. You lose the ability to catch yourself when you stumble on an uneven sidewalk. You lose the confidence to move freely in your own home, which leads to moving less, which accelerates the decline even further. Frank's neighbor Jean ignored her declining balance for months, telling herself it was just normal aging and nothing could be done about it. 3 months later, a simple trip to the mailbox on a slightly windy day resulted in a broken hip and 6 months in a rehabilitation facility. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, stand near a sturdy counter or hold the back of a heavy chair. Lift 1 foot off the ground and hold for 30 seconds, then switch feet. Do this every single morning without exception. Don't wait until you fall. Start this routine tomorrow morning and make it as automatic as brushing your teeth. Morning routine 2. Hydration. Before stimulation. Here's something that surprises most people when they first hear it. Frank drinks 2 full glasses of water before his morning coffee, tea, or any other beverage. Harvard Medical School research reveals that seniors who drink 16 ounces of water immediately upon waking show significantly better cognitive function, clearer thinking, and 30% fewer instances of morning dizziness and lightheadedness compared to those who start with coffee or tea. After 8 hours of sleep without any fluid intake whatsoever, your body is in a mild but significant state of dehydration that affects every system in your body. Your blood becomes thicker and moves more slowly through your vessels. Your blood pressure regulation becomes less efficient and responsive, and your brain operates in a fog that many seniors mistake for normal aging when it's actually just dehydration. Frank keeps 2 glasses of room temperature water on his nightstand every single night. Before his feet touch the floor in the morning, he drinks both glasses completely while still sitting on the edge of his bed. Not small sips throughout the morning, 2 full 8-ounce glasses right away, one after the other. Room temperature matters because cold water can cause a sudden constriction of blood vessels in some older adults, potentially triggering digestive discomfort or even chest discomfort in people with sensitive systems. The water immediately rehydrates your blood, helps your kidneys flush out metabolic waste and toxins that accumulated overnight while you slept, and gives your cardiovascular system the fluid volume it desperately needs to maintain stable blood pressure when you stand up and start moving around. After 8 hours of sleep without fluids, your blood becomes thicker and your blood pressure can drop suddenly when you stand up. This is precisely why most senior falls happen in the first hour after waking, according to emergency room data. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that orthostatic hypotension, that sudden dangerous drop in blood pressure when standing from a lying or sitting position, is a leading contributor to morning falls in older adults and is directly linked to dehydration. Coffee, which most seniors reach for first thing in the morning, is actually a diuretic that pulls water out of your system and worsens dehydration rather than helping it. By the time you actually feel thirsty, medical research shows you're already significantly dehydrated. Your body is already struggling. Your body's thirst mechanism becomes dramatically less sensitive with age, meaning you absolutely cannot rely on feeling thirsty as an accurate signal of your hydration needs. Frank's friend William kept having dizzy spells every morning for weeks, feeling lightheaded whenever he stood up from his kitchen chair. His doctor ran expensive tests and blood work before finally realizing William was simply severely dehydrated each morning from going 12 hours without any water intake. Tonight, before bed, fill 2 glasses with room temperature water and place them on your nightstand within easy reach. Drink them both completely before you get out of bed tomorrow morning. Dehydration is silent and dangerous. Fix it right now by preparing those 2 glasses tonight. Morning routine. 3. The 10-minute flexibility window. While his coffee brews and fills his kitchen with that familiar morning aroma, Frank spends exactly 10 minutes on gentle stretches, and this simple routine has kept him out of the emergency room for 5 consecutive years. The Mayo Clinic reports that seniors who perform daily morning stretches experience 58% fewer muscle-related injuries, significantly better posture, and maintain notably better range of motion in their joints compared to those who skip stretching entirely. Your muscles and connective tissues tighten significantly during sleep as your body remains in relatively static positions for hours. Your body is essentially in a mild state of contracture every single morning when you wake up. Without deliberate conscious stretching, this overnight tightness never fully releases, and it accumulates day after day, week after week, month after month, until reaching for something on a shelf or bending down to pick up a dropped spoon becomes genuinely dangerous and painful. Frank does simple seated stretches that require no special equipment or training. Reaching forward toward his toes, gentle neck rolls in both directions, shoulder rotations backward and forward, and ankle circles clockwise and counterclockwise. Nothing complicated, nothing that requires a yoga mat or special clothing, nothing that causes sharp pain, just 10 minutes of gentle, deliberate movement. He sits in a sturdy kitchen chair with a solid back and systematically stretches every major muscle group in his body. He reaches forward slowly, with both arms extended, feeling the stretch in his lower back and hamstrings. He rolls his shoulders backward 10 times and forward 10 times. He rotates his ankles in both directions, 10 rotations each way. He gently tilts his head side to side, feeling the stretch in his neck. Each movement is slow, controlled, and never pushed to the point of pain. Discomfort is fine, but pain means you're pushing too hard. Your muscles and tendons naturally shorten and stiffen overnight, and without morning stretching, this stiffness accumulates day after day, making simple everyday tasks like reaching for items on shelves, bending to tie your shoes, or turning to look behind you while backing up your car increasingly difficult and genuinely dangerous. The American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons notes that flexibility loss is actually one of the most preventable aspects of aging. It's not inevitable, it's optional. Every single day you skip stretching, your body adapts to a smaller and smaller range of motion. Your nervous system literally recalibrates what it considers normal movement. Tasks that were effortless last year become challenging this year, not necessarily because you're getting older, but because you stopped moving through your full range of motion and your body adapted to your limited movement patterns. Frank's sister Carol stopped stretching in her early 80s, dismissing it as unnecessary since she felt fine. By 88, she couldn't reach the top shelf in her kitchen or get items from her upper cabinets without severe pain shooting through her shoulders, gradually losing independence over simple tasks she'd done effortlessly for decades. Set a timer for 10 minutes tomorrow morning. Sit in a sturdy chair with good back support and gently stretch every part of your body that feels tight or restricted. Do this while waiting for your coffee to brew or your breakfast to cook. Your flexibility is decreasing right now. Start stretching tomorrow morning before you lose more range of motion. Morning routine. 4. The protein first breakfast. Frank never starts his day with toast, cereal, bagels, or pastries anymore. He begins every single breakfast with protein, and it's changed absolutely everything about his energy levels and physical strength. Research from Stanford University demonstrates that seniors who consume at least 25-30 grams of protein at breakfast maintain significantly more muscle mass, better physical function, and show 40% less age-related muscle loss than those who eat carbohydrate-heavy breakfasts centered around bread, cereal, and juice. This isn't a trendy diet or a weight loss strategy or some complicated meal plan. This is about preserving the muscle tissue that literally keeps you independent, mobile, and able to live on your own. After age 60, your body becomes increasingly inefficient at building and maintaining muscle tissue. You need substantially more protein than younger adults just to maintain what you currently have, and your body is most receptive to using that protein effectively in the morning hours after an overnight fast. Frank's breakfast always includes eggs, Greek yogurt, or cottage cheese first, before any bread, fruit, cereal, or other foods touch his lips. He eats the protein portion of his meal first, then adds other foods afterward if he's still hungry. 2 large eggs provide about 12 grams of high-quality protein. 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt provides about 20 grams. 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese provides about 25 grams. He doesn't complicate it with fancy recipes or expensive supplements. He simply makes absolutely sure that protein enters his body before anything else every single morning. His body uses that morning protein to repair muscle tissue that naturally broke down overnight during sleep, to maintain his existing strength, and to keep his metabolism active and efficient throughout the entire day. Starting your day with carbohydrates like toast, cereal, or pancakes causes blood sugar spikes followed by crashes, leaving you fatigued and mentally foggy by mid-morning. More critically, without adequate morning protein, Your body literally breaks down your existing muscle tissue for energy, actively accelerating the muscle loss that leads directly to frailty, weakness, and dependence on others. The Journal of the American Medical Directors Association published research showing that seniors who skip adequate breakfast protein lose muscle mass twice as fast as those who prioritize it, even when their total daily protein intake is identical. Your body is constantly making decisions about whether to build or break down tissue. When you give it carbohydrates first thing in the morning, it burns those quickly for energy. When you give it protein first, it uses that protein for maintenance, repair, and preservation of your muscle tissue. Frank's cousin Gerald ate toast with jam and orange juice every single morning for 40 years, never thinking twice about it. By 87, he'd lost so much muscle mass he couldn't carry his own groceries from the car, couldn't get out of a low chair without pushing up with his arms, and needed assistance with basic daily activities. Tomorrow morning, eat 2 eggs, 1 cup of Greek yogurt, or 1 cup of cottage cheese before anything else. Make protein the very first food that enters your body every single morning without exception. Muscle loss is happening right now while you sleep. Protect your strength with protein tomorrow morning. Morning routine. 5. The mental activation ritual. The last thing Frank does every morning is 15 minutes of what he calls brain work. And his doctor says it's keeping his mind sharper, his memory better, and his thinking clearer than most 70-year-olds he treats. Johns Hopkins researchers have found that seniors who engage in challenging cognitive activities within the first 2 hours of waking show significantly slower rates of cognitive decline, better memory retention, and maintain superior problem-solving abilities compared to those who spend their mornings passively. Your brain is most receptive to forming new neural connections in the morning hours. The chemicals and hormones that support learning, memory formation, and cognitive function are at their peak levels in the first few hours after waking. If you spend this critical window on passive activities like watching television or scrolling through your phone, you're essentially wasting your brain's most productive and receptive hours of the entire day. Frank does a crossword puzzle, reads a challenging article from a magazine or newspaper, and summarizes it aloud to himself, or practices writing a detailed letter to a friend or family member about something specific. The key is that it requires real mental effort and active engagement, not passive activities like watching television news or scrolling through social media. He doesn't just read passively. He actively engages with what he's reading by asking himself questions about it. He tries to connect new information to things he already knows. He explains concepts out loud as if teaching someone else who knows nothing about the topic. This active engagement forces his brain to create new neural connections, to strengthen existing pathways between neurons, and to maintain the cognitive reserve that protects against decline, confusion, and memory problems. Your brain is most receptive to forming new neural connections in the first hours after waking, and if you spend this critical window on passive activities, you're essentially training your brain to be passive, lazy, and disengaged, accelerating cognitive decline rather than preventing it. The Alzheimer's Association emphasizes that cognitive reserve, which is the brain's resilience to damage and its ability to maintain function despite age-related changes, is built exclusively through consistent mental challenge and active learning. Every morning you engage in difficult thinking, problem-solving, or learning something new, you're depositing into a cognitive savings account that protects you later. Every morning you spend passively watching television or doing nothing mentally challenging, you're making a withdrawal from that account. The difference between someone who stays mentally sharp at 90 and someone who struggles with memory and confusion at 75 often comes down to these daily morning choices about how to use their brain's peak hours. Frank watched his friend Samuel spend every single morning watching television news for 2 hours, sitting passively in his recliner. By 91, Samuel struggled to remember conversations from the day before, forgot appointments regularly, and needed constant reminders about basic routines. Tomorrow morning, spend 15 minutes on an activity that genuinely challenges your mind and requires active thinking. Do a crossword or Sudoku puzzle, write a detailed journal entry about something specific, or read something genuinely complex and try to explain it to yourself out loud afterward. Your cognitive reserve is either growing or shrinking every single morning. Choose growth starting tomorrow. These 5 routines: balance exercises, water before coffee, gentle stretching, protein first breakfast, and mental activation, take less than an hour total, but literally determine whether you stay independent or lose your freedom. Frank is 94 and completely independent because he made these 5 simple choices every single morning without exception. You can start all 5 tomorrow. The difference between independence and dependence isn't dramatic or complicated. It's these small, consistent decisions made every morning. Start with just 1 routine tomorrow. The balance exercises take 5 minutes and could prevent the fall that changes everything about your life. Then add another routine each week until all 5 are automatic habits. Your morning routine is literally deciding your future independence. Which of these 5 routines will you start tomorrow morning? Tell me in the comments, and if you know someone living alone who needs to hear this, share this video with them right now. Your morning routine could inspire theirs. Hit that like button if you're committed to staying independent, and subscribe because I share proven strategies for healthy aging every week. Your independence is worth 1 hour every morning, starting tomorrow.